now let's see how I made my mastering. All right. So first thing we have on our master chain is OTT at 4%, just a tiny bit. And one tiny little secret about mastering is just adding up plugins and different effects and just adding a little bit of that effect. You know, bit by bit, you will produce that really nice polished sound that we want on mastering. On mastering, we don't do like drastic things, like huge tweaks. Little tweaks, piece by piece, and slowly but steady, things start to sound good and polished, all right? So I added OTT just a tiny bit. Then we have a compressor compressing this area of the song, the bass area of the song. And we have a multi-band compressor. Basically what I did, I used this preset basic 4-band punch. I think it's on mastering, basic 4-band punch and balance. Then we have FLP filter Pro Q3, and we have a dynamic EQ here, cutting some frequencies at 600 and around 600 Hertz. We have a low cut, but using mid-side EQ, side low cut, let's say. We have a low cut here, stereo low cut at 20 Hertz because you don't need those frequencies. And we have a high cut here at around 16 Hertz, 16,000 Hertz, all right? Then we have a limiter with the preset EDM Punchy. And then we have a second limiter with the preset EDM Transient Extra. I always like to use 2 limiters because I don't want to push everything in only one limiter. I don't want to give all the work, you know, put all the responsibility on top of only one limiter. So I always like to use 2 limiters so they can help each other. And it helps you to reach the loudness level that you want, that you desire. So it's really good and it prevents some distortion. This limiter is just a little detail, like the cherry on top of the cake, you know, just that extra dB to reach the loudness level that you really want. This is SPAN. This is a frequency spectrum analyzer and Yulin loudness meter. Okay, I always have these 2 plugins on my master chain since the beginning. Right? Whenever I start a project, I always have span and loudness meter on my master chain because this helps when you're mastering and this helps when you're mixing. So let me do an A/B test with all the plugins, but I will keep the limiters because if I turn off the limiters, the sound will be too low in volume. So let me take off these effects. Let's go to the drop. With OTT. So OTT glues a tiny bit all the sounds, gives more high end to the sound. So we have the compressor. So this compressor, it's basically gluing the kick with the bass sounds, so really good. It's balancing even more your track. And let's hear the multi-band compressor. This one you will hear a huge difference. Just makes the sound more clean and more balanced. It reduces some muddy frequencies, so it's really good. It cleans up your track and makes it more balanced. So the EQ. The EQ, it's basically cleaning the sound as well. And when we put all the effects together, it just makes a huge difference. difference, guys. Like I said in the beginning, bit by bit, small changes after small changes, in the end, you create a big difference. And it starts to sound way more clean and way more polished, which is great. And that's the point with mastering. So another tip that I want to give you guys is using this pen. So let's see how the spectrum, the frequency spectrum of my song looks like. Okay guys, so what you need to know here is that when you have a really nice mixed and balanced mix, your high frequencies starts around here, and then you start having a dip. It's going down, down, down to here. So if you see, it's a huge difference. If I put my mouse over here, okay, this is the level of the lower frequencies, all right? These frequencies right here, this is the current level, and see the difference of level when you put on the high frequencies level. So it's this difference, okay? It's a huge difference. So it starts here and slowly fades down, okay? When you have this type of curve, it means your mix, it's balanced or decently balanced. Because you always have like a dip here, because those frequencies, those are the frequencies that most of the times make your mix very muddy. And especially on electronic dance music, that's the type of curve that you want to go for. If your song looks like this, it means it's decently, it's sounding decent, at least sounding decent, okay? And your sub bass, your sub region, you know, like from 70 hertz to like 40, 30 hertz, this area right here needs to be, it doesn't need to be exactly like on the same height as the high frequencies, but it needs to be like, they need to be balanced, you know, they need to be almost at the same height. So your sub frequencies need to match your high frequencies. So as you can see, this is the level of the high frequencies, and this is the level of the sub frequencies. It's not a big difference, all right? They are basically leveled. So this is the curve. It dips really harshly here, okay, and then it starts to go up. And also, it's always good to have this little curve here on the higher frequencies, because those frequencies here, you don't need them, all right? So it's less information for your limiter to process, less information for your brain to process, and it just makes your mix sound more clean and good. So I think this helps a lot. So when you're mixing, try to see if your song looks like this. If it's looking like this, if your bass levels are matching your high frequency levels, it means it's balanced, you know, or at least decently balanced, okay? So this is what you need to see on your track. Really important. This trick, this tip changed my life, changed drastically the way I mix my song.